creation, the articulable change that I desire. Unexpected change scares me, pulls me from my desires, push me off course. It's important to not let those things control. So today, I'm not gonna let it. I chose an aspen log that I collected last fall. I didn't want something very large, but I wanted it to be beautiful. I cut the depth, the cross-cut side of my Ryoba, and split down the fibers. Cross-cut the excess with my Ryoba, leaving a nice finish to examine the end grain for any checks or cracks. In this case there was some, so I removed a little bit of material. It's important to remove portions of the wood with checks. They can become problematic later on. I used my hatchet to roughly flatten the surface so I had a much easier time planing. I also shaped the sides, giving me an outline to examine how I want the bowl to end up being shaped. Doing this kind of work with a hatchet is very efficient and allows me to still take away lots of material while still maintaining much control. Next, I pull out a vintage jack plane I had purchased at a hardwood supply store. I paid a very comfortable price for it. Took minimal refurbishing to get it up and running. Soon enough, I have a relatively flat surface to draw a foot on. I'm able to flip the piece over and work on the top of the dish. Doing so is not extremely easy, and I can end up sending the piece flying at times. As I get closer to the desired finish, I use my Wood River No. 4 bench plane, allowing me to take a more controlled, thin cut. Once I'm thoroughly satisfied with the finish I've put on the piece, I wrap it in a cotton cloth, keep any moisture trapped inside, and just to be safe overall. Going back many times when I'm working on something, I don't really want to work on anything else or do much of anything else. I just want to use all my energy and motivation to work on whatever it is I'm working on. Chicken katsu is a dish traditionally derived from tonkatsu, a Japanese dish made with pork cutlet instead of chicken. Tonkatsu was made based on a French dish made with veal. My point is the inevitable change that occurs. It's a completely different dish. All three of them. Made with different ingredients. Some made by different people. In the end, it created a whole new dish that a whole new people were able to enjoy. That vast change, that stark difference, maybe even poor portrayal. At times it's crucial to just slow down and embrace inevitabilities. Utilizing the flat surface planed on the piece and several different techniques, I roughly approximate how I want the edge of the bowl to turn out. Find the center marks on both top and bottom edge, and then strike a line down the center, allowing me to properly position all the circles. I'm not too careful about the sizing of every circle. I just want everything to fit naturally. Once I'm comfortable and confident with the shape that is being filled in, I use a pen to go through and find the real border for both the outside and the inside rim. Using a pen allows me to be more confident that my marks will stay in place. I use my opinel number 9 to roughly start shaping the outside of the dish. Progressing further, I'll use my Flex Cut 3 3/4 inch Pro Series carving knife. It's a perfect all-around carver, extremely sharp. Again, a flat ground blade, but much smaller, better for detail work. Once I'm pleased with the outside shape of the bowl, I move to the interior. I place a non-slip mat to protect the board piece and to keep it from moving. This kind of carving is much more aggressive, there's much more force going into the piece. I use a bar clamp to hold the piece in place. This will create a night and day carving experience. I'll use my Beavercraft SK5 two-handed hook knife. I've been very pleased with this tool, especially for the price. Created this small handmade sheath to keep the blade protected. I start by creating an outline around the edge, a stop cut, something to guide me, keep my knife from going too far. As mentioned before, the intuitive nature of this tool is not easy to understand, but it is crucial for the proper use. While you're carving, it's important to listen to how the wood wants to be carved and not try to force the knife through the grain. work with the grain. Now progressing on to the other side, I can use the knowledge I have of grain direction and carving the first half. Makes the carving process go a lot smoother. I also have the already made depth of the first half, making it much easier for me to check my depth to know if I'm going too shallow or too deep. Once the shape of the dish is desirable, I can move on to more detailed work. Palm gouges I use are made by Miller's Falls, a company that no longer makes tools, bought by Stanley some 50, 60 years ago. The steel on these tools is very impressive. Holds an edge for a very long time. Whoever owned them before me took very good care of them, and I very much appreciate it. I'll now slowly work on small details inside the bowl, slowly working towards a more final shape. I tend to get caught up in making unnecessary cuts, and then I go too deep and have to make more cuts. It's a vicious cycle, and sometimes it's better to not make any extra cuts. Carving the interior curves is difficult. If you go too far in one, you may have to change the others to make it look right again. Again, another example of a vicious cycle. Sometimes it's better not to correct it at all. The foot. Nobody sees the foot, but I love making the foot. It's the beauty underneath. It's the beauty that you're not even sure anyone will consider beauty. The purpose of having a well-made foot is to provide stability to the dish. Evenness. Support. try my best to take my time with the foot, not necessarily to provide extra stability or to ensure stability. The sandpaper does that, but more to appreciate the part of the bowl that no one will really be looking at. This is an art piece, and every bit of it is. I'm not blown away with how the foot turned out, but I'm going to move on. I've spent quite a bit of time detailing it. It's important to not get too caught up with specific details. I'm a big proponent in using what you have. I have no idea what people's problem with finishing a piece with sandpaper is. It's a very useful and versatile tool. Especially if you have it, I would say there's no reason not to use it. Simple, but beautiful. Once an organism was part of a colony that could live for centuries to a millennia. Now, a small wooden dish.